welcome to a Facebook Live broadcast. A check this out later on YouTube broadcast from the folks here at the Morgan Podcasting Network. My name is Rod Morgan. Hello. I will serve as the host here on what we call Balls and Brew. That means we're talking sports the way that you probably do with your buddies when you're sitting around having a few brews, perhaps. That means we don't take it incredibly serious, right? You shouldn't listen to every opinion we have. We're just sitting around and having a few opinions like you do. And we will get into wrestling talk later, which we call Yeah, We Know. And the host of the wrestling show and the executive producer of every podcast we do here on the network, the man that makes all of this possible, the man that first brought us the idea of going to video, James Thomas Jamriska. Jimmy, hello.
Yeah, Rod, I hadn't seen your face in about 2 decades, and well, Chris, I hadn't seen your face ever. So, video sometimes good idea. I don't know in this case though.
There we go. That's the dry wit that we have come to know and love from our guy Jimmy. He is, of course, speaking about the fact that the old man is quite hideous to look at. No, I'm
Ah,
sorry, Chris. Hideous is wrong. I apologize. Listen, as soon as I started
whoa!
rolling down that line, as soon as I started rolling, I knew it was wrong. I backed off as soon as I got there. You know what I mean? That's
No,
kind of
you
like
just had a
that's
premonition because I was just about ready to bury you anyway and tell you that, yeah, we have opinions, but all of Rod's are wrong.
see, there we go. I knew I got ahead of you. Our guy, the old man, Chris King. Chris, hello.
What's up, gentlemen? Big, big night for the Pacers, right?
That is right. The NBA Finals are here. One of my favorite signs that summer is indeed upon us. The temperature has finally started to heat up a little bit here in northern Indiana. The golf course, shout out to the boys out at the Warren Golf Course at Notre Dame and our new listener, Chris, aka Worm. Jimmy, you know how we love nicknames here on the podcast. So he goes by Chris, also goes by Worm. You got to love that. And he knows our guy Williams. He's from the Walkerton area.
I've never been a bad guy named Worm, so I think that's pretty cool. That's awesome, brother. I really appreciate you listening. Any friend of Rod's and Williams and everybody, friend of ours.
Exactly how it works around here on the Morgan Podcasting Network. But Jimmy, I wanted to touch real quick here on the top because we do have lots of things to get to. There's a wrestling premium live event. The NBA finals are here. But another sign of summer is pools. And I wanted to ask you two gentlemen, have you ever gotten into the above ground pool game? Have you ever decided, you know what, I'm going to have my own semblance of an above ground pool going in the backyard? Chris, you've probably worked on many a pool at many a different job you have had across these United States, but what
I am a
experience do you
certified
have with
pool
the pool?
operator, Rod. I am a licensed certified pool operator, and I have been for well over a decade now. So I am well versed in pool maintenance and all of that. But I have never actually been involved in upkeep, maintaining, or storing or setting up an above ground pool. They've all been concrete pools for me.
Oh, see, listen, you like the way you just described that is going to lead me into what I have to say here. But Jimmy, have you messed around with the above ground pool world?
We were close. We were close. A lot of the houses that we looked at in Kentucky is a pro above ground pool state, mostly because of there's no basements and there's not a lot of below ground pools there. But no, we did not, unfortunately, go with the above ground pool.
See, no, I'm not. That's the thing. I don't have your big style above ground pool that you like. You actually kind of feel like you're really in a pool, right? I don't have one of those. I've worked from the smaller size. Like imagine you're just inflatable, right? That your 2 and 3 year olds likes to work with, right? We had one of those, and then we basically went up a double size from that, right? So then we're talking a pool that works a little bit better for a 5 or 6 year old, right? Then we went up to your big 18-foot ring pool, right? Which is certainly bigger than all of those. You're dealing with hundreds of gallons of water at that point, right? You got to have a filter. Then at that point, you got to have your chemical strips. Then at that point, to be able to keep up on things of that nature, right? You got to have a jet that's working on one of those. So that's when I got my first. You got to try to store that, right? You're dealing with holes that may pop into it. Then we worked up into Jimmy as the Vanimal got older. And as the Mrs. Morgan, and I decided, we might like to sit in a pool in our yard, but we didn't feel like us sitting in the 18-foot ring pool was right. And certainly we couldn't sit in any of the inflatable pools that we had, right? So we moved up to an 18 by 9 by 52 inch, right? So this is a big honker in the backyard. We're talking thousands of gallons of water at this point, right? Had to get an even bigger pump. You know what I mean? We got double jets on this thing. But what they don't tell you about taking down above ground pools and trying to store them is it is a pain in the ass. It is a pain in the ass. You can never get it in the same spot once. All of your parts are seeming impossible to get them into one another, even though you did it the previous summer. The mud, Jimmy, nobody talks about the mud that starts to become all around everywhere, all over the side of the pool. You got mud on the bar that's got to stick into the corner joint, and then the corner joint's got to connect to the other joint, and then you got to wrap it over here, and then you got to tuck a thing underneath the pool that's then got to, I mean, Jimmy, it's absolutely insane. You should see me out here with my elbows and my knees everywhere trying to work this above ground pool and shimmying it around. And then the minute you get water in this thing, forget about it. Water is so heavy.
Well, and two, the pool we have for our dog, if we put it on our grass, 7 seconds later, that grass is ruined. Okay, and it's ruined forever. So I can't even imagine what your backyard looks like. And then also, does it ever grow back, or you just have a big ring so you know at least where the footprint is of this pool?
Oh, see, now here's the thing, right? When I tried to, last summer was the first summer we had the big 18 by 9 by 50 tour. All right, Chris. So when I tried to take this thing down last winter, guess what happened? Couldn't figure out how to get the thing whole entirely apart. So what did I decide to do that I thought would be a brilliant idea? I just went out and bought a big, huge tarp. Just put tarp over the guy right where it was sitting last summer. Just had it covered up by a tarp all over the winter, right? Thought that'd be great. When I pulled the tarp off a week ago, somehow there's mud and water everywhere underneath the tarp. Chris, explain this to me. How did this happen?
Well, a tarp's not waterproof, Rod. That's semi-permeable, so rain and water and mud's going to get through there. All right, that's just
Where
the
were
way
you
it
at when I
is.
bought this tarp then? Where were you at when I bought this tarp?
Who knows where I was, Rod? I could have been in any number of states in any kind of number of situations, but like that's what
Except
it
for the
comes down
following
to.
states. He was not in the following state. We got to be careful.
Oh, I couldn't believe how much trouble. And then here's the other thing. When you got that many gallons of water, I'm basically, Jimmy, I'm filling this thing up for 3 days, right? We're going out in shifts. All right, you guys go out at 3:30, turn the hose on for 2 hours. We're going to get a couple of gallons there. All right, then we got to leave and we got to go do this. Then we're going to come back and we're turning on a little bit more. We should have this thing filled up by Saturday.
Which Saturday?
Exactly. Then you got to have a cover for it, right? Then you need a ladder because that's the thing
Got
that
to keep it
we
warm.
didn't even think about. Oh, well, no, I haven't gone to the solar cover yet. It's going to be as cold as it's going to be. You know what I mean? Just get used to it. All right. But as we mentioned at the top, my favorite sign of summer is the NBA Finals. The NBA Finals are upon us. And if we're talking NBA, there's only one thing to do, and that's have Jimmy run it. Let's go.
Welcome to the Fast Break, the fastest 15 minutes in the NBA. All right, listen, we're doing live here. It's after the first quarter. Pacers down 29-20. How are you feeling, Chris? I know you're the one. You're nervous. I know you're mad that we're doing this right now. What are your thoughts?
We got to limit the turnovers. I think that is pretty obvious on the first quarter. We had 8, 9 turnovers, I think, before I jumped on. So way too many turnovers. We are, in my opinion, a little bit lucky to be only down 7 or 8.
Yeah, Rod, Miles Turner, I think, is really the key in this. I think he's the key in the series. And again, like last series, he can't really handle the ball down low. He dropped another couple today.
Isn't that kind of the reason that, like, we all love Miles now and he's Mr. Pacer, but like, isn't that kind of the reason that he was in so many trade rumors at one point in his career? Because like, you like the idea of Miles Turner, you like the skill set that a Miles Turner has, but like he never really can apply it to that just next level to be a legit 100%. Hey, you got to consider me for the all-star team type, or like, I'm always going to make a solid play when you give it to me at the elbow. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't always make a solid play when he gets at the elbow, like you said. He doesn't hit every open three-pointer that he has, and that's Miles Turner. I'm not putting the guy down because he still gets a lot of blocks and he does a lot of good things and he's pretty mobile for a big man. And again, he's Mr. Pacer. He's the longest tenured at this point. But if you're hoping that Miles Turner is going to lead you to the promised land, which you're right, that's the one spot where the Pacers have a bit of an advantage. That's a thin margin to be hoping for.
Also, I think, Chris, they got a couple of nice matchups with Pascal Siakam, and seeing Siakam and how he's played so far, and I haven't watched all of it, but that gives me a little bit of hope that he does belong in this series with this team.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things there. I think one, and we saw it tonight, where they didn't start Isaiah Hartenstein tonight. Oklahoma City went with a smaller lineup. I think that benefits
I was real
Siakam.
surprised by that. To me, that's running scared a little bit by Dagnall. I didn't understand that.
History would show that Hart does not do well against the Pacers. He gets really kind of exploited a lot. So I think that benefits Siakam. I think the other thing is, as far as a benefit for Pacers, like if you guys are looking for like things that can propel us to win this series, like it's our corner 3-point shooting percentage where we have 7-8 guys shooting over 40% on corner threes. And that's the one shot that Oklahoma City gives up all the time. If we continue to hit those, including Miles Turner, because he gets a lot of them, I think the Pacers have a real shot.
Yeah, Pacers have been I mean, they were tied at one point, and then all of a sudden they're down 10. It's been in that 5 to 8 range, which is kind of where we want them, right, Rod? We want the Thunder to have that just little bit of cockiness that they're up 8, right?
Yeah, I mean, we saw the Thunder have a little bit of difficulty in late game situations versus the Nuggets, right? They are still a youngish team. You know what I mean? Not that entire roster has lots and lots of playoff games under the well, I guess at this point they've all played about 12 now, but you know what I'm saying. So sure, and the Pacers have proven it almost doesn't matter how many points they're down and how much time is left. They have pulled off some sensational comebacks this playoff. So you can't count the Pacers out. People have been counting the Pacers out versus the Cavs, right? People were like, well, the Pacers might be frisky, but, give me Cleveland in 5 or 6. That was the way that everybody thought that was going to go, right? And then everybody was picking the Knicks to beat the Pacers. Nobody thought the Pacers would get to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, right? Nobody was talking about the Pacers when they ran all the way up to be in the 4th seed to finish, in the Eastern Conference. So they're basically always counted out, right? Nobody gives a crap about the Midwest. I mean, we heard so much talk about the ratings as if that should matter one iota about a basketball game and the entertainment value you can have on TV. So the Pacers know where they're at. They don't have a top 15 player, right? This is not me calling Tyrese a fake superstar. This is just he's probably, even if I gave him all the credit in the world, he's probably not top 15. The rest of the guys on the Pacers roster don't seem as dynamic as some of the guys on Oklahoma City. So I understand it, but I'm not counting these Pacers out. They've proven me wrong time and time again.
I'm sorry, Jimmy, but Rod just touched on something that I got to give a little bit of a rant against, a little Kingdom Nation, I guess we'll call it, right? Is after you saw Pacers versus OKC, you got this barrage of online message boards and BS talking about how worst ratings ever, who wants to see these teams play, blah, blah, blah. But the minute you get something else like a Celtics Lakers or something like that, it's rigged. The NBA's rigged. They make sure it does this. It's like the NBA is never going to win. And these people, I don't know why they're coming out like this. Why would you not want new teams in the NBA finals, new teams that you don't get to see these stars all the time? I don't understand why people are so just as soon as the Pacers finished that series, it was all ratings, and I'm sick of it.
Well, it just shows a lot of people aren't watching basketball. I mean, they really aren't, because these are two really good teams that you want to see play. And the speed, the depth. I mean, if you look back at the last series with the Knicks, how many players did he actually play? Right now, after the first quarter, the Thunder have played 11 players, more than the Pacers have. This is going to be a knockdown, drag out, up and down, high scoring affair. And I think it's going to be a terrific series. And people just, if you watch, you'll be fine. Right, Rod?
It's almost as if people on Twitter and online want to complain about literally anything that crosses their timeline, Jimmy, right? And I mean, that couldn't be, right? I mean, that's not what happens on social media, is it?
Nope, not at all. There's nothing going on, especially today in social media. So it's perfectly fine.
Jimmy, do we want to give credence? Speaking of, I mean, kind of this feeds into the rating situation here to the East Coast elite, but like, do we want to touch on Tibbs here? Were you going to go?
That was my next. So Tibbs is out in New York. I do want to do a couple quick things. Number one, Rick Pitino has said he is not interested in the job. So I'm going to come out and I'm going to say, at this point in my career, I am also not interested in the New York Knicks head coaching job.
That's good.
It's not right for my family.
We can't afford to lose you around here, Jimmy. Yeah, we can't afford to lose you around here. They can't have you.
So it's so funny, isn't it, Rod? I mean, with the Bull and Chris, Chris too, with the Bulls having Tibbs and T-Wolves having Tibbs, the Celtics when he was the assistant coach there, we've kind of grown up with, well, Chris was in his mid-60s when he started with the Celtics.
Right.
But, we've really grown up with Tom Thibodeau as this like defensive mastermind and this rough and gruff kind of guy. And all he does is come in and win and do the best they can. But even though they've gone to the last 25 years, nothing. This is the best run they've had in 25 years, Rod. he still can't change that aspect of I have to play my guys until they drop.
Yeah, he doesn't want to change, right? He's gonna grind you. You know what I mean? He's definitely the epitome of that adage that we hear all the time that like, you know what I mean, you just got to change voice after a while, right? And you probably got to change Tibbs' voice after a few less years than other people, right? Like we've mentioned on the football show with Williams many times that like Harbaugh is an absolutely great football coach and he turns the culture around, but then he starts to wear thin after a little while and can't be at a place long. So I suppose that's true for Thibodeau, but like to me, Jimmy, this whole thing is, and I know you're a Simmons guy, and so you probably heard this as well, but I'm going to go ahead and just summarize it a little bit for folks who might be listening to us that also don't listen to Bill. This is just about how much this is absolutely a players' league now. I'm not complaining about the salaries they have, but it's just all there is to it, right? When you have guys that are getting 48, 55, 59, 61, somebody's going to start making $70 million a year here soon, right? And then you got a coach that's making at most 15, maybe. I believe that's what still the top end for coaches are, right? So that gap right there just further proves that this is a players' league, right? We saw Mike Malone get fired, who is a pretty good coach. We saw Taylor Jenkins get fired, who's a pretty good coach. Tom Thibodeau just got ran out now, who's a pretty good coach, right? So guys like Steve Kerr with the tenure he has, and guys like Spoelstra with the tenure he has, we're not going to see that ever again because these players run this league. They get to decide where they want to go. The NBA has literally made it impossible for teams to try to conglomerate stars together. So it facilitates them wanting to go from team to team. Contracts are smaller. This is just and the problem is coaches are the ones who are seeing the brunt of it. The guys don't even stay in a place for 3 years anymore. And what I think Rick Carlisle and the Pacers are proving is that when you give a team a chance and a little bit of continuity, perhaps you could see some fruits on the other end. And nobody seems to want to show that patience right now.
Hey, Chris, do you see anything similar between this and like Mike McCarthy in Dallas, where he always would win, or Mike McCarthy in general? He's always going to win you 12 games, 13 games, whatever that is, but he just can't get you over the hump. Now, there's a little difference there. There's a championship ring on his finger, but is that similar at all to you with Tibbs?
I think it's a very evident new trend that you can win and succeed and bring success to a franchise that they haven't seen in decades and not have any job security. And it's to me, it's sad. We saw it in Sacramento, Denver. I mean, Rod even named a few others. So like it's a disturbing trend. You go, you win. So where's your job security? What you're going to do is you're going to water down the talent that's willing to become an NBA head coach. And then
Well,
you're going
I
to have
think
worse head coaches and cheaper head coaches, and then it's not going to be worth anything to be a coach.
the
Hold on a
cheaper head
second. I
coach.
love how he tried to sneak Sacramento in there as if they haven't been a dumpster fire for like 2 decades. Come on now, Chris. That's like Sacramento's not quite the same. They've been cycling coaches for years now.
Yeah, but once they have better success than they've ever had, since the
Yeah.
Weber Jason
Oh
Williams
yeah,
days,
no, you're
they
right.
get
Mike
rid of
Brown.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
yeah.
That's true. Mike Brown was I mean, one coach of the year, right?
And
That's
I mean,
that's
Mike
the
Brown
other
is
kiss of death in the NBA.
I no kidding. But also, I think the job security, Chris, is Tibbs still has 3 years and like $45 million left on his contract. So I think he'll be okay there. I do think the cheaper thing will come into play a lot more because of the Monty Williams contract kind of messed everybody up for a couple of years, and that was great for coaches, not great for owners. This new CBA, when they're gonna some people are gonna be paying $100 million in luxury taxes, they may have to go with a cheaper coach. Heretofore, transition time, excellent work. The Phoenix Suns just hired Jordan Ott, Cleveland Cavaliers assistant. Rod, what is your Jordan Ott experience?
I must admit, none.
Didn't know what his
Zero
first name was,
whatsoever. I had
but
zero idea. No, I mean, once I heard Jordan, I was like, okay, maybe his parents were at least basketball fans, named
yeah,
him after Michael, perhaps. You know what I mean? I was like, Otter. Is he perhaps part of the OtterBox fortune? Right? Isn't OtterBox a pretty
ooh,
popular
yeah.
cell phone case out there? Right? Like that's where my mind went because I got zero idea. But here's my thought. Good luck
Yes,
in
that's where I was
Phoenix,
going.
my guy.
Well,
right? Good luck in Phoenix is what I would say to my guy Otter.
Well, I'm thinking, Chris, going with so they went big name. They had Monty Williams, got rid of him. Big name Frank Vogel. Big name your boy from I can't remember his name right now. The guy they just fired.
Budenholzer.
Budenholzer. Thank you. Budenholzer. Big name in Budenholzer. Now they go kind of an unknown, well, not an unknown, but an assistant coach level, right? Does this show that they might actually try to dump some salaries here? Obviously, KD is going to be going. Is Booker going to stay? Are they going to try to reset this a little bit? Or are they still going to go for it, Chris?
One, I believe I had a great niece that babysat him when he was a younger child. We thought he was going to be, your
Good coach?
regular insurance type salesman guy. Didn't think he was going to be this successful as a coach, right?
Okay.
But hey, it's obvious that
He
Phoenix
does
is
sound
going
like an
to.
insurance salesman.
You got to think Phoenix realizes that we have dumped a lot of money, so we have to do something different. We know they've already been shopping KD. We know it came out today. I think the Knicks actually tried to acquire him at the deadline. So we know that that's going to happen sooner rather than later. So they're getting into a situation where they may keep, I don't know, Booker around maybe and try to do something moving forward in the future, but they got to do something because what they've been doing has not worked.
KD's Achilles with Tom Thibodeau. Can you imagine that? Thank God Silver stepped in and didn't let that happen.
Goodness gracious, that would be horrible. So the Pacers are still down about 7 points here, right where we want them in the NBA right now. I do have two football quick points before we go into the Yeah We Know podcast. Our long national nightmare is over. Aaron Rodgers signs with the Steelers. Oh, thank goodness we can talk about something else. Oh, wait a minute. Rod, the Steelers play the Jets in week 1 because life is just terrific, isn't it?
And I saw they have the Packers on a Sunday night as well. So it's kind of like the NFL said they weren't waiting around for Aaron Rodgers, but maybe kind of sort of. They thought there's a good chance he might end up with Pittsburgh, and so they scheduled it this way. So listen, nobody cared about the Jets last year, and they were a terrible football team overall. But like in 2025, where quarterback play is probably down across the league, except for a few top guys, right?
Yeah.
Rodgers wasn't that terrible last year compared to what the Steelers had anyway. He's got a shot. If the Steelers defense can get back to playing defense the way they did at the beginning of the year last year, not the way they finished, they're going to have just as good a shot as anybody else at being the fourth best team in the AFC. Because I think Buffalo and Baltimore and Kansas City are still cream of the crop, with Houston probably right there as well.
Chris, what do you think?
I think that because I hate the Steelers, they will somehow manage to be. They will still manage to somehow have a winning record, but because they get Aaron Rodgers, who has some sort of weird bad luck charm attached to him, like the Tiki Spider from the Brady Bunch, like he'll bring some bad karma to Pittsburgh, and so I think maybe for once in my life, I will get to witness Pittsburgh do worse than what they're supposed to do. We think they're going to compete for the AFC North Championship. I think that division comes down to Cincinnati and Baltimore, and Pittsburgh finally fails. Even though I am an Aaron Rodgers fan, I think they fail.
Well, no one's perfect. And then finally, Chris, for those of you listening on the podcast and not on video, Chris is clad as Indiana gear right now. Are you so excited that the juggernaut of a schedule the Indiana football team has, especially their non-conference heavyweights? Chris, I don't know how they're gonna repeat next year. They have to go against Old Dominion, who, by the way, has a football team. They are going against Kennesaw State, which, by the way, has a football team. And I'm not even joking. They're also going against Indiana State, which has a football team. Chris, your boy Kirk Signetti talks a lot of stuff. They have one game, the Oregon game, which is even going to be close. This is pretty pathetic, this preseason schedule, dude.
To be fair, Jim, I didn't know what that preseason schedule was until you mentioned it. I was wearing this because of the new Owen Wilson show, Stick, that takes place in Indiana. I'm a fan, but let me tell you what I know, right? Yeah, you have to play the teams on your schedule.
You do the schedule yourself, though, sir.
And how are we to know that we didn't approach these other teams out there and be like, listen, you're not a cupcake anymore, Indiana. We don't want you on our schedule anymore, Indiana. We're not willing to go there. Or maybe, just maybe Indiana didn't want to pay people that were better to come to IU and play, because you got to pay these teams to come and play. Maybe this is what IU could afford.
Well, they don't have to play Ohio State or Michigan this year. Again, I don't know how that happens.
Now, I want to say that's not IU's fault. That's the
Yeah.
Big's fault.
That's the Big's fault, huh? But they do have Illinois, Iowa, Oregon, Michigan State to start off the season. So listen, if they're not a one-loss team, which by the way, Rod, if IU loses one game, they're going to be like 50th in the nation, right?
Listen, when the Sycamores and the Hoosiers get together, Jimmy, you throw the records out. All right.
Anything can happen.
I don't appreciate you taking a swipe at the Sycamores. That is the alma mater of one Rod Morgan Sr., RIP Senior. But little soft spot for Indiana State in my heart always. Attended Hoosier Boys State on the campus of Terre Haute there when I was a junior in high school. That was an interesting week. That's a story for another podcast. But I called this out last year. All right. I love nothing more than to see my Hoosier faithful get fired up about football for the first time that I've been alive, basically. Right. I love nothing more than the Signetti signs that look like old cigarette ads. Right. I'm all in for all of it. But let's be real about what's happening here. He's finding loopholes. Right. He's taking advantage of being a lower rung team in a conference that has a lot of sway. So if he can manage to sneak around and side door to a good record, he's going to fool people into thinking he's a top 25 school. And unfortunately, when they've played the likes of Ohio State and Notre Dame, teams that are perennially in the top 25, they haven't fared very well. Chris, I'm not trying to talk trash, but that's just the truth of the matter.
Yeah, I didn't say anything about any of that. Listen, I am a realist as well, right? My goal for every IU football season is to beat Purdue. Everything else after is icing on the cake to me, right? Now, I love the fact that Signetti's doing it like this. If we can stay on that national stage, whether we're getting through a side door loophole or not, that's getting us TV time, that's getting us exposure, and that's getting us an opportunity to get better and better transfers and commitments. So that's the only way you can build a program up to be able to compete with the Ohio States, Penn States, Michigans, right?
So the $50 million in NIL would help.
Right. As long as Chris gets to hear Gus Johnson saying, "Welcome to Bloomington, Indiana for Big Ten football." As long as Chris gets to hear that on Fox on Saturdays, he's fine with whatever the Hoosiers do. Jimmy, I have one other football thing that I think we'd be remiss to not bring up. I noticed this just before we were coming on the podcast. Is it possible that one Anthony Richardson is already done as Colts quarterback? We have a shoulder injury that's holding him out of mini camp, which means he's already going to be behind the ball on advancing, which is the one thing we've always wanted out of the uber athlete quarterback, but maybe doesn't have down the plays, maybe isn't as accurate as we'd like him to be. Jimmy's already going to be sitting out of mini camp. Are we looking at Daniel Jones as the quarterback for our Colts already?
Oh dear. You know, it stinks. It really does. I really wanted Anthony Richardson to be good. Everyone wanted him
you
to
and I
be
were
good,
leading that train. We were conducting that train, Jimmy. You and I up front, shoveling coal, wearing the conductor's hat, blowing the whistle.
You guys are just defeatists, right? He's played literally a season's worth of games.
I just said I'm worried, Chris. I'm just asking a question. I'm not defeated yet.
I'm just saying, like, mini camp isn't even when the season really starts. That's before preseason even begins. Like, mini camp's nothing at all. He's still going to be able to be in the film room doing the things that he needs.
Mini camp is not the season. That's what your analysis is. Mini camp is not the season. Thank you for that earth-shattering stuff, old man.
Yep. Tell me where I'm wrong. I'm just saying it's a little worry over nothing right now.
All right. Well, 2 words: Riley Leonard. Okay, let's go. Starting QB. And with that, you have been listening to Balls and Brew and the NBA Fast Break. Stay tuned here for the Yeah We Know podcast.
Wrestling.
Goodbye, Nat.
Damn it.
Welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Know's podcasting network. You're in the ring with Jimmy, Chris, and Rod, and thank you for everyone who is watching on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitch. And for those of you listening on all your podcast providers, give us a like, give us a thank you for doing what we do. Hey, we bring this to you for free. We have been asked to be paid for this. You know, people want to give us money. We say no, we don't need money. Although if you want to give us money, the more you know at gmail.com. We got to start off on some bad news. Okay. R-Truth gone. Carlito gone. And this happens every year. It's usually a little earlier than this. We had some cuts. But whenever you bring people up, that takes spots, just like in any sports organization, some people have to get cut. I think Carlito said it best when he said he was stealing money for the past year or so, and he'll see us in another 13 years. I thought that was pretty funny.
That was good.
But R-Truth has been a staple in the WWE for a very, very long time. And Chris, I'm going to miss everything about him, and I'm just going to miss him.
Yeah, I'm devastated. I really am. Like, he was the one guy that no matter what, I loved every second he was on TV. No matter what he was doing, I loved everything about it. And he was definitely somebody I looked forward to every single week. And there aren't many of those guys on the roster, to be honest, but that's one of them. And so, yeah, I think it was. I guess I don't understand enough to understand why they couldn't keep him on. I'm sure he's not as expensive as some other people. Like, I don't think it would have been that difficult to keep him on.
Rod, do you think they could have? Do you think they could have sold the sponsorship to like one of the guardrails on the way in to maybe cover R-Truth?
Stop giving them ideas, Jimmy. All right, there's enough selling going on of everything around the WWE ring as it is right now. We got the Slim Jim tables now that are going to come out and all the above. Here's the thing, Jim. We've talked about it before. It's very rare that you're going to get a great send off in this business unless you're one of the tip top guys. And even then, we all know your retirement tour is probably a bit fake because you're going to come back a couple of years later because they're going to offer you enough money to come back because they need to pop for another pay-per-view. So you're never truly 100% done in this business, even when you get your retirement tour, right? Like we saw Edge. We were all emotional about Edge. And then weeks later, he's over on AEW and he's still going at it over there as we speak. So,
his last match.
We got R-Truth coming out to the Cena music on Saturday night's main event, right? I wish that maybe they wouldn't have made it as much of a comedic smash if they knew Truth was going to be gone soon enough. You know what I mean? Like maybe give him a little bit more of a showing there. Hell, maybe even let him win because you made it clear that it wasn't for the belt. You know what I mean? Maybe let him win somehow. You know what I mean? Everybody hates Cena anyway, so that would have been cool. And then he gave us great R-Truth stuff with, "That's your son? He's husky. Let me take your husky son to the ring and teach him a lesson." I mean, that was absolutely hilarious stuff, calling our guy JC Mateo husky and saying that he was Solo Sikoa's kid. So kudos to R-Truth. Love the guy. Hopefully we see him back for, you know, some Legends pops every now and again. It'll be great.
So, Chris, I think it was said on our group chat, and they took it from the internet webs. But you know, one of our boys, Mark, shout out Crippler, said that Truth should be signed by AEW immediately, and then just have him in the background walking around, being all confused and stuff. And any old WWE guy going up, "Hey, I haven't seen you around here in a while." I think that would be golden.
You could do a little bit even extra and be like, "Hey, I was sitting here looking to look for Nick Mysterio. I haven't seen him. Is he around?"
So you have.
I love every minute of that. I'd watch AEW. I would watch AEW if they signed R-Truth and that's what the gimmick was. I'd watch it every week.
There you go, AEW. You want one more fan? You got him right here. Just get R-Truth in there as soon as you can. In about 91 days, probably from now. So you have a couple people leaving, couple people coming in. Stephanie Vicker, I can't say that. Coming in, she'll be on Raw. Jordan Grace, I'm not sure, Chris, if you're familiar. She was in the Rumble, so you might remember Jordan Grace, Chris. She's going to go to SmackDown. I think that's going to really help the women's division. Rob, this women's division looking really good. Some might even say it looks a little glamorous with Mariah May coming to your NXT. I'm good.
That's
dude.
why I was interested
so
that you
good
said,
at this.
yeah, you are. That's why it's so interesting to me that you said 90 days for R-Truth, because we literally saw Mariah May on AEW television like a week ago. She popped over to the NXT. So I don't know if that's AEW not doing good with non-compete clauses or what there, but we might be able to see Truth on TV sooner than that. Who knows? Actually, his contract still runs for a little while. That's the other thing with him and
Yeah,
Carlito.
that's
They
true.
both were just told, you guys are going to be paid for a little while, but we don't need your services any longer. You're right, Jim, about things looking up for the women's division, but like, I guess I would say it's kind of hard for things not to look up for the women's division when you have the injection of new talent that they've just did. I mean, hell, 3 of the people in the Money in the Bank ladder match just came up from NXT. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like we literally have like we've just decided we're moving other people to the side, we're injecting these new people, and I'm not saying I'm against it, right? They all seem like they can wrestle. Stephanie McCurry seems like a hell of a wrestler. You know what I mean? Like congratulations to her. Jordan Grace is somebody that's going to be right there in the Rhea Ripley, Jade Cargill kind of form. You know what I mean? She's absolutely chiseled out of stone, and you know, even Ivy Nile at times, right? Ivy Nile's a lot smaller, but she's real cut up that way too. So I get it, but I worry, right? I worry, Jim, because of what we just saw with Tiffany Stratton, right? Are we injecting a couple of people a little too soon, right? And then I also worry like we're gonna have so many people with the addition of Julia that like English isn't their first language. I'm not trying to be that guy, but I'm just a little bit worried. Like, are we gonna have too many people that like are not able to cut a solid promo when we need a story to be advanced?
So I think the good news for you, Rod, is with Vakur and Jordan Grace, they have been wrestling for a long time. Okay, Tiffany Stratton is still new, still green. Vakur is probably one of the best wrestlers in the world, women wise, and so I think everything is fine there. That'll be nice, and really they are bumping up, Chris, for this Evolution 2 pay-per-view, which they're going to have an all women's pay-per-view coming up here. It's got to be soon.
Well, I mean, they're starting to get a roster that is starting to feel a little bit more legitimate, I guess, right? Like that's kind of what we're looking at, and at least hoping for, right? Give us more legitimate contenders, right? Give us more in the tag team division, like clear cut type teams and things like that. Well, you know me in tag teams, I'm always complaining about them, but yeah, I think this is exactly what they needed. The cord looked great at Raw, and I did see some of her footage from South America. Insane.
Yeah. So when Worlds Collide is a premium live event that we haven't really talked about a lot because there's been so many premium live events recently. I mean, went from WrestleMania to Backlash to Saturday Night's Main Event to when Worlds Collide, which is in the morning, and then Money in the Bank, which is in the evening, and then you also have what is that called? The fighting Ultimate Fighting Championship, I believe, is what it's called, UFC, in the evening on Saturday. So Saturday's a big evening. But Rod, we're burying the lead here. Your boy is going for the AAA Mega Championship now because El Hijo de Vikingo beat Alberto El Patron, Alberto Del Rio, recently for that championship. So it's Gable in a championship match, Rod.
That's exciting for our guy Chad. I'm glad that El Viking del Hingo, is that what you said? Am I right? Was that close?
Not
El Hingo de Viking, is that
El
what you said?
Hijo del Vikingo.
El Viejo de Rancho Vico, that guy, he's good. All right. He's good, but he's not a luchador, which means Gable's got a chance. We all know that Gable has a problem with luchadors. This guy is not a luchador. You can see his face. So I give Chad Gable 4% chance of being able to win that belt. 4% chance. There's no way that all of a sudden Chad Gable, after this guy just won the belt from Alberto Del Rio or whatever he's going by these days, and now Chad Gable's going to roll in there, throwing up the peace signs with his American suit on saying thank you, winning their belt. That ain't happening.
Oh, that would be so funny. Hey, Chris, I think Rod has successfully dethroned you as missing a name as much as possible in the first 5 or 6 attempts. So good job, Chris. Excellent work.
Well, hey, all I know is that Gable is going to win that belt because that would be the most heel thing to happen in that league, right? So Gable will win that, and then in a weird twist, El Grande Americano will win Money in the Bank, and then fight and challenge Gable for that belt.
There's a world, Chris, where you are in charge of booking, and I'm all about it. So why not? Let's just do that. NXT North American Championship Fatal 4-Way: Ethan Page versus Phoenix, Ray Phoenix, Javon Evans, and Laredo Kid. High flying all around here. I think I'll ego Ethan Page though. Is still gonna come out on that. I know you guys don't watch as much.
I like Ethan Page. Ethan Page has got a vibe that I dig. I dig what an Ethan Page does.
Uh, Psycho Clown, Dr. Wagner Jr., Pagano, Chris. Did you ever think I'd say those to you?
I did foresee like Psycho Clown being said to me by you at some point, but not with the
Yeah,
rest of
no,
it.
you're right. The Psycho Clown, Chris.
You are a
Yeah, that does.
juggalo. You are a juggalo after
A
all.
ju-
Many of our listeners would be surprised to know that Jimmy is a huge juggalo. He actually got
I
a
am.
little mini fridge below him right now full of Fago.
Yeah, you should see my back tattoo with all of them on there. Against Legado del Fantasma, who they kind of dusted off a little bit to come and do this, and then also we have the tag team championship match.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that
You
funny?
guys
How
aren't
it's just
breaking
like,
up anymore. It's all
nope,
fine.
you're good. You're good. Stephanie Vaquer and Lola Vice versus Dallas, and I think it's Cheek Tormenta. I do not know if I'm saying that right or not. Listen, it'll be a fun show. I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch all of it. I do want to watch a little bit that Leo, David Kingo, and Gable match, though, for sure.
Listen, Gable is a heck of a wrestler. It seems like that dude is a high flyer. So you're absolutely right. The entertainment value on that match alone is probably going to be big. And plus, that'll be the one at the end, right? So which will be closer to when we're going to then want to watch the main event.
Well, if you believe that Gable and Americano are the same person, they'd probably have to have that match earlier so that he would have enough time to recover for the next match.
You're not wrong there, but they're not the same person.
I,
So
I was going to
to
say easy Michael Cole, who, by the way, shout out to Michael Cole for wearing the Pacers jersey.
Yes.
He had to wear that.
What do you
Pacers, by
mean?
the way,
The
not
WWE has been spending plenty of time glazing Tyrese Halliburton. I was not surprised at all to see that
Yeah.
they threw on the Tyrese Halliburton jersey. They've had no problem saying, "Hey, Tyrese, you're a wrestling fan. You're awesome. You're cool. Hey, buddy, look at us."
And one of my favorite pay-per-view, I think it's probably my third, and sometimes it's my second after the Royal Rumble, the Money in the Bank. Just because anything can happen, it's usually a terrific match, both on the women's and men's side, and anything can happen. But let's talk about this main event: Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso versus John Cena and Logan Paul. Rod, where are you on this? I'm kind of in the they just wanted to throw four people in together, and John Cena can't. And all due respect, obviously, but John Cena just can't go anymore. So let's put him in with someone who can go a lot and take the most of this match.
That's definitely what this is. This is definitely, hey, everybody, we know that you guys want to hate Logan Paul, but look at him. He's in the ring with three of our biggest stars that we've got going right now. So you have to take him seriously. He is a big deal. We're giving him a legitimate kind of rub here going against all these guys. To me, though, it's the same old with Cody Rhodes, right? Oh, the American Nightmare is back to save somebody, and he's going to jump in, and they're going to fight for good. Like, oh, wonderful, cool, awesome.
Man, there's only one person you dislike more than Cody Rhodes, I think, and we'll talk about him in a little bit. Chris, do you have any thoughts on who's going to win this match? And Rod, I guess who's going to win, Cena and Paul or Rhodes and Uso?
They keep propping the corpse of John Cena up. So that's who give me Cena and Logan Paul.
Okay.
Yeah, give me Cena and Logan Paul, the duo that will help ruin wrestling because Logan Paul will end up getting that belt from Jey Uso.
Yeah, I think Logan Paul is winning that, but I actually think Gunther might be winning the match on Monday. I think something's going to happen on Monday. I think a briefcase is going to be, and they usually do this, Chris and Rod. Obviously, you've been around. They usually have a briefcase cashed in pretty quick. I think it might happen on Monday during that Gunther and Jey Uso match.
I guess
Chris
technically
has been around
it could
too.
be.
Stop this, Jimmy. You're feeding.
He's a
into the narrative.
brand new.
Chris has been
He's
around.
brand new.
I am a
He's
younger fan.
This is
I
the
guess
third time he's previewed a Money in the Bank friggin' pay-per-view. This is garbage. Stop feeding into this stuff. Don't let Chris get away with it.
We could see somebody get that Money in the Bank and cash it in during this tag team match as well.
You could do that. You could. I mean, it's the main event of WrestleMania. It happened, so it could happen here. Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch, and what's become a pretty heated feud here. If Becky Lynch loses, she can never ever wrestle Lyra Valkyria during this stint for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. If Valkyria loses, she has to raise Becky Lynch's hand. Rod, Becky Lynch is winning this one, in my opinion. Lyra is going to raise her hand.
Yeah, absolutely. This is just, and like, yeah, you're right. Okay, it's got a heated feud, but like, I'm also like, this is another one just straight out of the playbook. Like, have the young upstart start saying bad stuff about the older vet, and then the older vet gets mad, and so now all of a sudden it's a heated rivalry. Like, okay, cool, we just saw this with Tiffany and Charlotte. So, but I'm excited for the man to be back. Lyra seems a little more of a legitimate wrestler, I guess, because of this feud.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, we get things all around are good. Like, but I agree with you, Becky Lynch.
Chris. Chris is
It's
not
it's
okay.
yeah, I know. Like, cause I'm not that interested in this new Becky Lynch. It feels like I'm just hearing a lot of complaining coming from her, and it's not all logical to me. So that's hard for me to follow. I don't know if putting the IC belt on Becky makes it more important to me or not. I feel like I've been more interested in the path of the women's US title than the IC belt.
Mm-hmm.
That's because
So I
you
don't
love
know. I don't
Chelsea
know if
Green, and we all love Chelsea Green.
that's a
Of
much better
course.
storyline to me than what this is.
Well, because Lyra's uninteresting until just recently.
Yeah, because
I don't
she
think
really.
I don't think the new
Go ahead.
Becky is either.
She's not new. Big Time Bex did the same thing a while ago when you were podcasting about wrestling.
When you were
She was the
podcasting
man
about,
then. I don't think I liked her then at first either.
you didn't like the man at first. That's
I don't
ridiculous.
remember.
He can't even keep track of his own takes
Yeah,
anymore, Jimmy.
right. I don't think I really enjoyed Becky all that much at first, like when we first got involved. But then when the really came out about why she was called the man when Nia Jax came back in, I became more of a respected her as
But
a
that was after
wrestler.
Big Time Bex. She morphed out of Big Time Bex back into the man. You saw her be Big Time Bex.
Yeah,
when
and
she
I
was
didn't
back
care for
first
her
in the ring.
then. That's what I'm getting to. I didn't care for her then. I didn't really
That's
care
what
for
I'm
her.
getting to.
The women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Who is going to try to get it from either Io Sky or Tiffany Stratton? We have Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez, Julia, Naomi, or Stephanie Vaquer.
Shout out
I'm
Roxanne Perez, by the way, Jimmy. I know
I
you
do love
know
me some
what's going on
Roxanne.
with her. That's some terrible stuff that's going on out there, man. The world of social media is such a vile and terrible place for comments, let alone what's happening to Roxanne Perez on social media. So hopefully the WWE gets control of that situation.
Well, especially and also Liv Morgan. I think there are some situations with her too going on. It's like people; these are human beings. Leave them alone. You know, if you need some help, go get some help. But just please leave them alone. Like, what's
Don't
going
make us
on
other
here?
wrestling fans look bad, these guys, man.
Yeah, Chris, who you got? This is interesting because I have no idea who's going to win this one.
Right. I've been going back and forth between Rhea and Alexa Bliss. I think it's one of them two. I'm leaning towards Rhea because I do see her getting that belt back from Io Sky. I think that's a good match. I don't know who I would want to see fight Tiffany Stratton or take the belt away from her yet. I guess if anybody would be Alexa.
Yeah, Rod, I'm not going to lie. I love Rhea Ripley. I think she's amazing. I would be very, very disheartened if Rhea Ripley is your winner here.
I agree with you, Jimmy. Allow me to put on a prop here for my pick in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. I've
Ooh.
got my ACDC Devil Horns that we picked up at their concert at Soldier Field, part of the Power Up Tour. Shout out to ACDC. Angus Young still doing it big time. But I got Stephanie Vaquer, Jimmy. I
Okay.
think that we're putting a rocket ship on her. You said it herself. She's bona fide. She's a hell of a wrestler. She's a hell of a looker. The what do they call the move? The move is hot right now. When she pulls the move
Yeah,
off, the crowd
remember.
pops.
Yeah.
Like I think we're going to see a couple of people take that move, right? So I give me Stephanie Vaquer.
I mean,
that
feels real. That feels real quick to me though, because isn't the women's Money in the Bank winner cashed in successfully 100% of the time?
I mean, if they have, they can. It doesn't matter. They can always do. There was 100% of the time for years in the men's side until John Cena didn't cash in. So things can happen. So I think I'm going to go Roxanne Perez just to kind of be a little bit different here. Just see what she can do with that. She's still kind of part of the Judgment Day, so that'll be kind of a fun little wrinkle that's in there. And then we have the men's ladder match featuring Solo Sikoa, LA Knight, Seth Rollins, Penta, Andrade, and El Grande Americano. Another match that there's kind of one clear favorite, but will that favorite win? I'm going to go to Rod because that favorite is Seth Rollins.
Yeah, we can tell a lot of interesting stories with my guy with the briefcase, right? With his muscle in tow now, with Paul Heyman in tow, right? Like Paul Heyman can carry the briefcase. He can, sort of give it to Seth or say, no, we're not going to do it, right? A whole thing where we try to make Paul Heyman look more like the wise man. Seth's goons can hold guys down or whatsoever. So there's a lot of juicy little angles that can be played with Seth with the briefcase. But you're right. It seems too obvious, which is what we then say to ourselves, okay, it can't be the obvious thing. But every once in a while in booking, it is the obvious thing. So I'm going to pull a Chris here and go fan and give me my guy, Seth Rollins. Even though I love seeing Andrade in this match because that dude can straight go.
Oh, and he's going to come out looking very good in this match, I have a feeling. He's done a really good job in past ladder matches, if I remember correctly. So I think that'll be done very well. He'll come out. He and Penta are going to have some battles there. Chris, do you think that Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman will just replace the the Universal Championship that Roman Reigns had with the briefcase and basically do the same thing with that?
Yeah, probably. I do see Seth winning. I see Seth winning, and I see him holding on to the case for a longer than abnormal time until at the very last second when it's John Cena's last appearance on a WWE show or premium live event, and Seth uses the briefcase to take the belt from Cena and therefore save wrestling.
I think Cena's last event is in Boston too, which is his hometown. So that would be kind of interesting to do that. I think it's going to be a sweeper. I think Seth Rollins is going to win this match unless Roman Reigns comes out and stops him.
We haven't seen the Chief in a while. That's a good call, Jimmy, because this is a premium live event. This is an excellent time for the Chief to show up. If the Chief stops him, let's give you this, Jimmy, to prove your smarts here. If the Chief stops him, like you just called, your official pick is Seth Rollins. But if the Chief shows up and stops him, who do you got winning?
See, it's not going to be Solo in that case because Roman wouldn't help Solo, right? So we'll check him off. It ain't going to be Andrade. We're going to check him off.
Penta?
Gosh, it's so early for Penta. LA Knight can talk a lot. El Grande Americano actually would be the pick. Honestly, it would be hilarious.
Let's go.
Oh man,
I'll give you my pick.
El Grande Americano.
I say it's LA Knight. You said it. I think because LA Knight is right there. He's huge. We've seen pops in the past when he was almost ready to get it. I think Roman kills Seth. Everybody's going crazy, and then LA Knight gets to the top of the ladder, and people go even more crazy. That's if Roman shows up and screws Seth, give me LA Knight.
I mean, can you see him with the briefcase holding it up and doing his LA Knight thing? I mean, that would be amazing. So, all right. Well, listen, we've got so much going on the Morgan podcasting network here. We appreciate everybody listening and watching. We've got some Morgan pop culture stuff in the works. We will work on that and try to get some of that information out. We're going to have a draft of some sort. We got to figure that out. Lots of stuff going on.
I think we're still, listen, we cooked it up a little bit. We can just reheat it in the microwave, right? We talked enough about the SNL draft. SNL 50 just wrapped up, right? I think we can still celebrate Saturday Night Live and do the draft of SNL cast members. I think we can still do that. And so now, Jimmy, that I put it out in the air, that gives me even more pressure to have to come through and get it done. So, but yeah, man, listen, we shouted out our guy Chris at the top of this podcast. We got a small nation here in the Morgan Podcasting Network, right? You join in, you can get shout outs, you can be in early, right? Think of it that way. You're in early, you're in on the ground floor. If this podcast ever takes off, you're one of the people that will be a famous fan. All of the new fans will be like, who's Worm? Who's the Crippler, right? All these people that are in early. Our guy Corey Nance, who's Corey Nance, right? You want to get in early. Give us a like, give us a follow. We'd appreciate it.
Who's Chris King?
And with that, you've
been listening to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the Morgan Knows Podcasting Network. In the ring with Jimmy, Chris, and Rod.
Goodbye, Net. Yeah.
Seth Rollins, let's go.
El Grande Americano. Yeah.
From the Gulf of America.